So the third question that we answer in the band meeting is, how might the Word and Spirit be speaking in our lives? You know, as Christians, we believe that the two primary resources that we have when it comes to connecting with God are His Word and His Spirit. So this really becomes a core discipleship question. Are we hearing from the Spirit of God? Are we tuned in to His voice? Are we reading or meditating on His Scripture, on His Word? And so this question becomes something that actually dials you in to those primary ways in which God speaks to us.
Absolutely. And in our particular context, we can consume so much just Christian content. There's sermons, there's podcasts, there's books, there's audiobooks, we read Bibles, we go to Bible study, all of these things. And I really view this question as a place to process all of that which has been consumed, all of those input points, anything that God might have spoken or said, or something I read in Scripture that week that sort of captured my attention. And what I found, and what many have found when they go to answer this question, is that actually having to articulate this in a way where you're communicating it to another person, it forces you to hash out maybe some of the details and really leads you into deeper understanding when you have to explain it to somebody else. It also solidifies and affirms in you and in the context of community what it is that God is saying to you in this moment.
Yeah, you know, oftentimes my experience has been that I sort of have a below the surface level understanding of what God's saying to me, a sort of intuition around it. But if I don't stop to actually ask that question, what am I hearing? What is my sense of what God is saying to me? Then sometimes it doesn't quite break the surface. It doesn't quite come out. So for me, this practice of weekly being able to say, okay, this is my sense, the best sense that I have of what God is saying. Maybe it's the themes of what God's saying, or maybe it's an area that He wants me to grow in, or a conviction I'm carrying, or a burden to pray that I have, or something that I'm sensing God is doing in my family or with my children. This is that opportunity to just name it. Again, your bandmates, over time, they're going to begin to hear and sense the themes of what God's doing in your life, and just sort of hold that space with you, celebrate it with you, and sort of, it's a two-part question, right? So it's not just about what the Spirit is saying, it's about
what the Scriptures are saying as well. And one thing that, I don't know if this is true for your band, but in my band, with this question, oftentimes what God is speaking to a person in my band as they're sharing, it starts speaking to me, and I'm like, wait, hang on, I gotta write that. Do you mind if I write that down? And we constantly are just learning from one another. And it really is one of my favorite questions, because you're not necessarily gathering around the Scripture to pick it apart or to articulate, what is the meaning of this passage and what does this say? It really is, how is this forming me? How is God speaking into my life through His written word?
Yeah, it also sort of assumes that in order for the Scriptures or the Word to be speaking in your life, that you actually are reading it, or that you're meditating on it, or that you're memorizing it. This is a sort of core practice of discipleship, to be in His Word, to read His Word. And while we're not prescribing a Bible reading plan or saying, you have to digest a certain amount of Scripture, there are many tools for that. What we're actually encouraging is whatever it is, whether one single verse or a chapter that you're meditating on weekly, that you're about some kind of core practice of getting the Word into your life. And if it's getting into your life, then when you come together in your band, you're gonna be able to say, for me this week, I've been in John 15, and I'm being reminded about abiding in the vine, and that it's Him who cuts off the branches in me that bear no fruit, and He prunes every branch that becomes more fruitful. So as the Word gets into us, we're able to sort of share it among each other in the band.
One of my favorite things about answering this question and hearing my bandmates answer this question is I feel like I get a little peek through a window into what God is saying in their life, and it helps me know better how to pray for them throughout the week. There have been many times where I've even shared my own answer to this question, and someone in my band later in the week has seen something similar come up in the passage, or seen a similar message or something pop up somewhere that they're able to send with me, or send that seen something pop up somewhere that they're then able to share with me, to encourage me, to pray for me. And really, I view it as a way to be able to partner with God and almost agree with what God is doing in the lives of your bandmates.
So that's question 3. How might the Word and Spirit be speaking in your life?